Hey, welcome to another testimony time. Someone wrote up. It's a good friend, AA Ryan. Hope everyone's having an amazing day. I've already done 3 testimonies, so I figure I'll go on and do mine real quick to encourage other people to make their own videos. Just do hashtag testimony time. But yeah, shout out to my friends Darian, Ernesto, and Karina. But I'm trying to make this brief. Keep it brief for my brothers and sisters. So what? Hey, Aaron. I'm gonna be over here. Aaron, so what were you like before you gave your life to Christ? You know, it's a complicated question because I grew up in a Christian home. My dad was like fanatic Christian. You know, when people talk about being too heavenly minded and of no earthly good, which is a lie, by the way. You can't be heavenly minded enough, especially in these days. The more heavenly minded you are, the more earthly good you actually will be. Anyway, that's a whole sermon you could do. But anyway, to all you pastors that use that sermon title, just to shout out your boy AA Ryan. But anyway, yes, I grew up in a Christian home. I used to see my dad worshiping the Lord every day when he got off from work. Pretty much, he would get on his treadmill and he have his Christian crunk music, I would call it, Sandy Patty and Ron Canoli and Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir and all them, all those people from back in the day. And BBCC Winans, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, he would have his worship music playing. I always saw him reading the Bible. I always saw him praying loud in tongues. And it's always lecturing us about the word. But what's wild is and there's a song called By the Truth. I can't remember. I think it's called My Testimony. Yeah, that was a song, Testimony. And one of the lines is I think the chorus is I ain't got no horror story. God kept me in my youth. I give him all the glory. Anyway, and then all I know is the blood of the Lamb has saved my soul. I think that's the bars. But so even though I grew up in a Christian home and I read the Bible, but I don't remember reading through the entire Bible. I would pray, but not consistently. I developed addictions very early on, like as early as 8 years old, to pornography, video games, and just escaping through video games, pornography. Man, sorry. This is the short. We got to keep it short. So yeah, I was into all that stuff as a kid, teenager. I got married young, was fornicating before I got married. And then I did get saved at the age of 8 and rededicated my life multiple times throughout my teenage years and 20s. And then take that on, I went through a whole divorce. And that was about 5 years ago now. And I was involved in some domestic violence with my former wife. Been to jail about 3-4 times. Overdose on edibles. It's not really funny, but looking back on it, it's how God has rescued me from lots. I was very suicidal after my divorce. I was drinking heavily and didn't want to live anymore. What else? Overdose. I drank some shroom tea with my brother and thought I was in hell. Anyway, I went through a lot. Eventually I'll go through my entire testimony. I'll go deeper into it, tell some more stories. I got a lot of stories, and every story has a story. But anyway, I wouldn't say it wasn't until in the last few months when I finally drew the line in the sand and said, no more. I'm not going back. And rededicated my life to the Lord. I feel like life, there's no such thing as being saved. Once saved, always saved. And there's, scriptures on both sides of it. At the end of the day, there's salvation, there's sanctification, and there's glorification. So there's going to be many people who will be in heaven, but they'll miss out on some of the eternal rewards of that come with being sanctified, that's a whole nother conversation. So anyway, ever since I finally drew the line in the sand, I've been able to, and yeah, there's been a lot of like times where I said no more, and a lot of times it was the Holy Spirit doing like all of it. I always say the Lord chooses us, we don't choose him. He knew us. It said Christ demonstrated his love toward us in that while we were still yet sinners, Christ died for us. I think that's Romans 5:8. And so it hasn't been, and I'll never forget my pastor at my other church I was going to. Shout out to Pastor John Brown. I'll never forget. He said, like last year, he said, Aaron, this is gonna be the year where you experience the Lord as a father in a way you've never experienced him before. And I think he said that before my dad passed away. I think, yeah, because my dad had a heart attack last year, May 20th. Anyway, I've been through a lot of stuff. And so, I mean, there's other people that have crazier stories than me. And I'm sure there's people, I wouldn't trade their stories for my stories, and they wouldn't trade their stories for my stories. Because your story is your stories. It's as unique as your fingerprint. So, anyway, yeah, I've been able to maintain being celibate for like going on 4 years now. Don't get me wrong, I've done some stuff in there in between that I'm not too proud of. That was like, you know, borderline. Could have been having sex, but I didn't. What else? I haven't had a drink in almost 4 years. That's my kid. I'm about to pick up my kids and celebrate that. Both of my boys had birthdays recently. July 26th, and my son's birthday, Aiden. Matthew is August 26th, and Aiden is August 1st. Matthew is July 26th, Aiden is August 1st, so we about to hang out for about 6 hours. So anyway, I was gonna say, I'm no longer suicidal. I have a great church, 2 great churches I still go to. I go to the Cure Church, and Lee Summit is my main church, but my other church I still go to for prayer meetings is Harmony Vineyard there in North KC. What else? I have Joy. I used to walk around. I still do sometimes, but I gotta rebuke that every time. I walk around sometimes. I used to walk around with a cloud, like an Eeyore cloud over me every day. And for a while I felt hopeless. But yeah, that's no longer the case. What else? I'm very optimistic about my future. Financially, spiritually, emotionally, relationally. I have great friends now, I have some strong male relationships that I've been starting. I have a pastor now who considers me a spiritual father. As they say, the teacher will come when the student is ready. But anyway, that's all I got for now. There's probably more I could share, but here go my boys. I'll holler at y'all later. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for another testimony time. Remember, share your testimony. #testimony time.